It is no surprise that football players spend a fortune buying some of the most expensive cars in the world. However, that is not the only thing they do. Do you know another thing they do? They spend on very crazy cars. If you knew some of the craziest cars of football players, you might wonder why they own such cars. We might be unable to find answers to questions surrounding footballers' reasons for buying the craziest of cars, but that's not a problem. These are the craziest cars of football players. El Hadji Diouf's gold-wrapped Escalade. El Hadji Diouf was famous as one of Senegal's finest while his football career lasted. He was a major part of the Senegalese team that made history at the 2002 World Cup hosted by Korea and Japan. The man might be a hero, however, he was not the coolest of people. As a player, Diouf was very controversial, and this made him stand out from the other players on and off the pitch. Seeing Diouf beat defenders with his skills was a great sight. However, he wasn't all about beating defenders. He was the king of a flamboyant lifestyle, and one proof of this is his gold-wrapped Escalade. Diouf might have not been the highest-paid player in his team. Nonetheless, he earned a lot of money, and when he thought about getting something super expensive, he did not settle for a sports car or anything similar. He opted for an SUV, which we might not see in any other part of the world except in the Middle East. Nile Ranger's SUV. Diouf had a lot of qualities, but loyalty was not one of them. Speaking of loyalty, if there is one player that seemed loyal to a fault, Nile Ranger is perhaps that player. He is not considered loyal because he refused to leave his club when a bigger deal came. His loyalty is simply based on how he customized his SUV. Nile Ranger wasn't just a Newcastle player, he is considered a huge fan of the club. Although we are not sure what club he actually supports, his car is obviously a Newcastle United fan. Of course, he couldn't get a jersey for his car, so he painted it the Newcastle United color. When you see Nile drive by, you should not expect to see a black Rover or one with a regular color, as you will see a white car with a black strip through its middle. And trust me, even official cars driven by Newcastle staff are not painted this way. Balotelli's military-grade Bentley. Balotelli is no stranger to controversies, and this is something the football world is used to. We have seen him act in very funny ways on the pitch. He even went as far as putting on a controversial shirt under his jersey. The shirt had the inscription, "Why always me?" and he showed the world this shirt after once scoring a goal in a match between Manchester City and Manchester United. It could seem like Balotelli was only interested in standing out on the pitch, as he was seen driving a camo Bentley, which could mean he did not want to be noticed. But a camo-painted car will definitely stand out on the street. It might be difficult to understand Balotelli's reason for owning a camo Bentley. Nonetheless, this car will always remain one of the craziest owned by a footballer. William Gallas's chrome-wrapped Benz. A Benz will always be a big deal, and this is common knowledge. But it appears William Gallas does not agree with this. The former Chelsea and Arsenal star bought quite a number of expensive cars while his career lasted. However, these cars are most likely unknown, as there is no way to tell the difference between them and other cars on the road. Well, it seemed the former French defender wanted to acquire some extra popularity after buying a Mercedes McLaren SLR. So instead of going on to drive the car in its original color, he decided to alter things a little. There are many ways Gallas could have made his car stand out. Of all these ways, he chose to wrap his car in chrome. It might be impossible to know exactly what Gallas was thinking when he chrome-wrapped his car. However, this action might just be an indication that he loves to party. Well, we can never tell for sure, we can only assume. Wayne Rooney's Ford Ka. A Ford Ka is not a bad car, and for a regular person, it might just be a great car. However, the story is different for a professional footballer. So, if you see a football player driving a Ford car, it might just be the craziest sight you will come across in a long while. We do not know if Rooney still drives this car. However, when he was still the highest-paid player in Manchester United, he owned a Ford car. This car is not cute and not expensive. Also, it is perhaps one of the cheapest cars owned by a highly paid top athlete in any part of the world. Stephen Ireland's Bentley. Unlike other players in this video, Stephen Ireland is not the exact owner of this crazy car. Although he paid for it, the car belongs to his girlfriend. By itself, this Bentley convertible is a great car. However, Stephen made some changes that made this car a break from the norm. After making payment for this Bentley, to ensure that his girlfriend was pleased, Stephen took off the Bentley logo and replaced it with his girlfriend's initials. If that was all that he did, it would have been really strange. However, he did not stop at that. He went on to change the leather seats in the car. This car originally came with red leather seats. However, he turned these seats pink. He went further to pass a message to her through the seats. Stephen Ireland's repainted Audi. Not everyone is comfortable with the fact that Steven replaced the Bentley logo in front of his girlfriend's car with her initials. Well, that was not all he did. Beyond customizing the car he got for his girlfriend, Steven also personalized his car in a way that several people consider quite crazy. After the former Manchester City player bought an Audi R8, it seemed he was not satisfied with all the features the car came with. He wanted more. So he decided the only way to make the car what he really wanted it to be was by changing its color. After spending a lot of money on buying a beautiful car, Steven sprayed it red and sky blue. He did not paint this car the two colors at the same time, he painted it red and went on to change the color to blue. Although respraying this car was quite strange, what is even more bizarre is he resprayed it red while he was a Manchester City player. No one really knows the motive behind this. However, one could assume he was interested in playing for Manchester United while still a Manchester City player. This car was red for a while, however, he went on to respray it sky blue. This is probably because some people spoke to him and he discovered spraying his car red as a citizen was not a very good move. Stephen Ireland's Range Rover. Still on Stephen Ireland, the football world will always wonder what attraction the former City player has for crazy-looking cars. This is because he did not think his crazy-looking Audi was enough. He went on to get a weird-looking Range Rover. This Range Rover had a pink trim and he got it while still playing for Manchester City. This car's color only makes one wonder if pink is his favorite color or he got it for his girlfriend. Sully Muntari's Mercedes Brabus G63 AMG 6x6. Lots of football fans in this generation might not know much about Sully Muntari because the Ghanaian midfielder did not seem interested in publicity. He was simply busy playing football. Although much is not known about the player's private life, he got the attention of the media when he bought a Mercedes Brabus G63 AMG 6x6. The midfielder bought this car while still at Portsmouth, and he paid $900,000 for this car. Although he bought this car for so much money, driving it to training was not an option, as there was no provision for parking it at Portsmouth's training ground. David James is Robin Reliant. Speaking of Portsmouth players, David James's car is perhaps the direct opposite of Sully Muntari's Brabus. Unlike the Brabus, it is very affordable, small, and a little humiliating. However, just like the Brabus, it is very conspicuous. David did not have to buy this car, he earned it because of his attitude in training. Then Portsmouth manager Tony Adams made a rule in the club which meant the person that had the worst performance in training was to drive the 1992 Robin Reliant to training. Although James was not the only Portsmouth player that drove this car, he ended up driving it a lot more than others as his performance in training was always bad. And that's it with the craziest cars of football players. What do you think about these cars and which of them would you settle for? Please let us know in the comment section below. Before moving on, please hit the like and share buttons. Also, subscribe to this channel to see more videos like this.